Here. Yes.
Thank you. My question is about money. I have made a lot of money in my career. I've spent just about all of it. And as of about 6 hours ago, the sale of my company was completed. I am now officially retired, unemployed for the first time in probably 57 or more years. And I should be rejoicing, and I am. People think I'm going to lay on the beach with a drink in my hand and enjoy life. I'll do a little of that.
An hour is about enough of that.
You're right. It's too much.
For you.
The dilemma is that the proceeds from the sale of the business fell far short of what the original projection was. And I'm having trouble not viewing that as that's all the money we're going to have to live on for all of eternity. Now, I've as I said, I've made a lot of money. I've got a lot of skills that are marketable, but I'm just trying to figure out where I'm going from here.
Well, as we listen to you talking about this culmination that you've been working toward for a while, we can feel split energy about it in the sense that while you were really ready to close the door on that chapter of your life, you're not ready to close the door on your life.
Right.
And so whenever anyone says that they are retiring, we would far rather hear them use the words, I'm going to begin doing something different than what I have been doing. When you said, I have over my lifetime made a lot of money and I've spent a lot of money, we wanted to say to you, you've breathed a lot of air in and you've breathed a lot of air out. In other words, and isn't it nice that you didn't have to hold that air in? Isn't it nice that in and out, in and out, in and out? And so nothing has changed. In other words, you're going to continue to make a lot of money. In fact, it is our expectation that more money than you have been flowing in any recent time will begin flowing, because you're feeling you will begin, once this all sinks in, you'll begin to feel so much less resistance, so much more freedom. And the proceeds from the business that you've sold are giving you such a lovely buffer that really takes the sting out of everything, that it will put you in a relaxed position where we believe your creative juices will flow more easily than they ever have before. Also, you have to remember, there's something that we know that you don't know that we keep wanting to tell you because it's beneficial for you to know it, but we don't mind that you don't know it because we know it and we can tell you anytime anyway. But here is the thing that we know, and that is that you have been launching all kinds of things into your vibrational escrow. And one of them is, I will always want something interesting to do. And that defies the basic definition of retirement. And so you're wanting to say, I'm retiring from that while I'm opening the door to that. And we want you to understand that we think everything is right on schedule, and we quite frankly think that part of what you launched over there into vibrational escrow, now hear this, you're really going to like it if you hear it the right way. So we'll be very careful how we say it to you. Because of the power of your being and the determination that you have for life to continue to flow through you, you would never put yourself in a position where it was not a good idea for you to be active, because that need or desire to be active will continue to draw life through you. And if Esther has said, as money flows to them easily, has for a very, very, very long time. It was flowing easily to Jerry before Esther even met him. And for a while she felt guilty once she hooked up with him, because dollars began to flow easily to her. And then Esther has teased because one night when the television was showing the lottery numbers, she asked us for the numbers and we jotted them down on a napkin, and those were the numbers. And Esther said, Abraham, would you mind giving me those numbers before they choose them? Would you mind giving them to me so that I could win the jackpot? And we said we would never in all of the universe do that for you, because we would not want to deprive you of the ability to create your own reality. In other words, it's so much more fun for you to launch your rockets and let the universe yield to you, you see. And so you have, without even knowing that, you've put that in your vibrational escrow too. You want enough money to be stable while you are creatively letting your juices flow toward other things. But there are a lot of people, and you may even know some, who have not have any reason to project themselves financially financially who have sort of withered. There's something about that financial reason that causes you to focus. In the same way that Esther will say, I shine in a crisis, and we say the reason you shine in a crisis is because the crisis makes you focus. Many people shine in the necessity of earning a living because it causes you to focus. And that focusing causes life to flow through you, and life flowing through you is what life is all about, you see.
Thank you. Sorry for the wrong choice of terms. This is a new beginning, not a retirement.
It truly is a fabulous new beginning. The best is still to come. And if anyone says, oh, you're retired, laugh and say, well, that word got stuck in my throat years ago. Right. I don't use it.
Thank you.
Yes, indeed.
Hi. I can listen to you all day, and I do listen to you a lot. But how do you go from believing to knowing?
Well, in the same way that there is a vibrational variance between doubting and believing, there is a vibrational variance between believing and knowing. Doubting and believing is a further expanse. Doubting is not far from disappointment, which is not far from fear, which is not far from disempowerment. In other words, when you doubt something, your vibration is very far from the knowing of it. Mm-hmm. And by the time you reach this vibration of hoping, you've come most of the distance. And so you can go quickly from hoping to believing, and quickly from believing to knowing. It's just a matter of staying there focused a little longer. All hope means is that you're focused more upon what you want than you are upon what is. It's where you've tipped the balance of the scale so that more of the time you are thinking about it as you want it to be rather than seeing it like it is. So once you tip that balance, that fulcrum tips downstream, so to speak, as you find the feeling that begins to feel like belief, there's a lot of momentum in that. And somewhere between hoping and believing, you start getting manifestations. And so belief goes from knowing because all kinds of evidence is now pointing toward it. Oh, we love saying this to you. What a wonderful question you've put to us. When you're hoping for something, you're still in that phase where it's vibrationally complete and you are mostly thinking in direction of what you want rather than what you don't want, but the manifestation hasn't started showing itself to you. But if you stay in that hopeful place long enough, now manifestations begin to show themselves to you, and now you begin to believe. When you begin hoping for something, and then you start noticing what comes from that, and then you begin believing and you start noticing what comes from that, before long, knowing is easy. We want to put this into the context of what faith is. A feeling of faith is belief that it will happen even though I don't have evidence that it is happening. And it's what we were talking about earlier, as we were talking about any of you traveling from city to city. That journey is understandable. So you don't get out there halfway and get disoriented. You understand those journeys. But often when you're going from sickness to wellness, or from not having something you want to having it, you don't have any evidence. There are no signposts that are so vivid and obvious to you other than the guidance of emotion. And so this knowledge that you are reaching for can come to you immediately when you accept that the way you feel is your indication of direction. In other words, when you know that the better you feel, the better it gets, and the worse you feel, the worse it gets, that's the knowledge that you're really wanting to reach for. When you notice the absolute correlation between how you've been thinking and feeling and what's manifesting, you've got knowledge. So then something wonderful will happen, and Esther will say, I did that. That's knowledge. When something not so wonderful happens, Esther said, I did that. That's knowledge. So it's the knowing of the guidance system that we want you to focus upon. Everything that you live is a replication of how you've been feeling. Nothing happens that's separate from the way you feel. Everything happens that is exactly corresponding to how you've been feeling. So as you start consciously noticing those comparisons, as you think and feel and have a manifestational result, before you know it, you have knowledge. And then you start saying, I know I did that. And we think that that's really the knowledge that you're wanting to reach for. And then it's just a matter of practicing the better feeling thoughts. We think what trips so many of you up is that you've been trying to compare how you feel with how others have felt or how others are feeling, when the comparison that you want to make is, how does this thought feel in relationship to the thought that I just thought? And as you keep leaning to increasingly better feeling thoughts, before you know it, you'll become addicted to the feeling of momentum and well-being, and then the conversation won't be, how do I have knowledge? The conversation will say, I have the knowledge. The question is whether I am deliberately applying it or not. We tease Esther a little bit because she knows the difference between a thought that feels better and a thought that feels not as good. She knows. She's been practicing this for a long time. She knows a thought that feels a little better and a little better and a little better. And with deliberate attention, she can parlay any thought that feels any way into a better feeling thought. No matter how good it feels, she can make it better. No matter how bad it feels, she can make it better. She knows how to make every single thought feel better. But sometimes she does not use that as her criteria. She'll say, well, it's true. As if that has anything to do with anything. There are a lot of things that are true that you don't want to live. There are a lot of things that are true that you do want to live. Let the criteria be, how does it feel when I think it, you say. Very good.
Thank you.
Yes, indeed.